My name is Liz Correia, and it is my honor and privilege to be the new principal of the DeMello School. This is my first year as principal at the DeMello School, but my start in Dartmouth Public Schools and at the DeMello School goes back 24 years to 1998 when I was hired here as a 5th grade teacher by the wonderful Kathy Medeiros, having left a career in higher education to become an educator. I was a classroom teacher, mostly 4th and 5th grade for 17 years. Getting towards the end of my time in the classroom, I became more and more interested in a leadership role in the school system and went back and got my education license. In 2015, was offered an administrative position in the New Bedford Public Schools. Took that opportunity, learned a lot with the hope that maybe someday I would be able to return to Dartmouth Public Schools. And within 2 years, the principal who was here at the time, Kathy Massini, another one of my influences in life, retired, and I was able to come back a little bit sooner than later and have co-led the building with Katie Paveo until her departure to work at Central Office as the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for Elementary this spring, and here I am, the principal of the DeMello School. When I think back on when I came into teaching, did I really want to be a principal at that time? The short answer would be no. I left my career in higher education because I wanted to work with kids. I couldn't think of anything more magical than having a classroom of children to work with. It wasn't until I got a few years under my belt as a teacher and was able to work with the principal, Kathy Medeiros, and then later on, Kathy Massini, that I was kind of inspired to think a little bit beyond the classroom and the impact that I could make. I was fortunate enough to work for two principals who were strong leaders, who believed in distributive leadership, that kind of encouraged people to take on leadership roles in the building and within the district. And just through watching their example, knowing how committed they were, seeing the impact that they made on the students and the families of the DeMello School, it started to inspire me to kind of think beyond my classroom. And long story short, I started to look into leadership programs. I started to take on more and more within the district and within the building, and that's how I got to where I am today. So when I think about the challenges that I have, that we all have ahead of us, I can't not go back and talk about the pandemic. No one likes to talk about what we've been through really for the last 2 years. I think that, you know, when you sit back and unpack it, we've seen some of the best teaching and the most resilience come out of our staff and our students and our families over the past 2 years, but not without an impact. We know, I think my challenges are twofold. I feel like we have to address the learning loss that's inevitable. We know that our kids weren't here every day, all day, and even when they were here, we had social distancing and illnesses to deal with and quarantines. So we know that we have to work on the learning loss, but I think the biggest challenge facing me and probably every other leader, not only in Dartmouth, but throughout this country at this point, is making sure that we're taking care of the emotional well-being of not only our students and their families, but our staff. I think everyone feels like they have given 110% over the past 2 years. I think everyone has felt the stress of the pandemic and the worry. We're going back to normal this fall. I'm really looking forward to that, but I just want to make sure that not only we're going to keep the learning going and help bridge some of the gaps that our kids may have, but we're also going to support the kids who have been through the pandemic, along with their families, along with the staff that has kept everything going over the past 2 years. So that's my biggest challenge. So coming out of the pandemic, we're really kind of going back to the way things were, which is completely exciting. I'm really looking forward to having families back in this building again. We have an in-person open house a few weeks away, and I'm looking forward to welcoming everybody back into the building. We are back to eating at tables in the cafeteria. We are back to completely mixing classes out at recess. Teachers can work very closely with kids again, you know, one-on-one or in small groups. We're looking forward to having more family nights. We're looking forward to having more cultural events during the day. People coming in from the community to work with our students. So we're really looking forward to a full return to normal. Let's get back and enjoy all of those little things that we missed so much over the past couple of years that we haven't been able to do. In looking ahead to this school year and thinking of any changes, there are no major changes. We have some scheduling changes. We're working really hard to make sure that we're using our resources very strategically, given the fact that we know that there are going to be some students that require more support. But I have to say that Katie Paveo and I, over the past 5 years, have put a lot of things into place, a lot of policies, a lot of procedures, a lot of ways of doing business here at the DeMello School that have been really effective. So I want to keep those things going, and I'm looking forward to meeting with staff more and more. We've already had staff come in over the summer to talk about changes to our recognition programs here and the way we service students. So I'm looking forward to hearing more ideas and putting more things into place. But for now, I think just starting the school year with what we already have in place that we know works well is a good start. I'm excited for the first day of school. I can say that is matched, if not surpassed, by the staff who has already been in over the summer to meet and to start setting up their classrooms. I think everybody is really looking at this as a fresh start. We are stepping away from all of the restrictions of the pandemic. Everyone is looking forward to being back to normal, back to having families in the school, back to doing family nights. And you can feel the energy. The teachers look rested that I've seen. They look like they've had a wonderful summer. I think everyone's pretty much put their head in the game and is looking forward to having a great start to the year, a great school year. Like I said, the energy's good and we're riding that wave. You don't get into this business typically without the understanding that, you know, children are the best people. I enjoy thoroughly working with every grade level, every student. Kids are honest. Kids want to know how you're doing. Kids want to share what they're excited about. I just love being around children. I think anybody in this building would say the same, that it's really a privilege, an honor, a joy to just be with children all day. I'm just looking forward to more stories and watching them learn and grow and play and have fun. The DeMello School is special. It has a long history of being known as a very special school, and I say that because when I was hired back in '98, I met with Dr. Kelly, who was then the superintendent of schools here, and the first thing he said to me when I walked into his office was, "I love all of my elementary schools, but DeMello School is special." And I think the common thread that keeps DeMello School as being such a special place to be is that the staff here is incredibly committed. The families that I've had the privilege of working with for the past 23 years have been supportive and warm and wonderful. When you come into this building, you feel like you're at home. I've had numerous people tell me that, whether it's subs coming in or people coming in to work with our students, families coming in. There's a vibe to DeMello School. There's a feeling of welcome here, and I think that the teachers here go above and beyond for their students and their families, and I just think it just makes it the magical place that it is. My advice to the first grade class. Oh, I have a few pieces of advice to the little people coming into Little Land this year. I want them to know that they're in a special place, and I want them to know that they should try things. We try to get all of our students to have a growth mindset, try things. You're here to learn and play. Mistakes are going to happen because mistakes are a part of everyone's life. I make mistakes every day. Every adult, every person in the world does. And the purpose of mistakes is to learn from them and keep moving on. So just come in, have fun, try things, and learn.